Hey, I just want to take this opportunity real quick to apologize. My +2 Vorpal Southern Baptist robes of discernment, which were blessed by Albert Mueller, and there's more, but we'll get to that another time. They're still not ready, so I'm wanting to get back to them. So I apologize if the quality of this video and teaching is much lower than it normally would be. Um, we are in Galatians, um, and this is. Oh, by the way, the dog has been of no help whatsoever. Look at her; she's about as useful as the robes are. So we're on our own here. Um, all right, we're not going to do much in Galatians here. There's a lot to be said for very little. It says, but when this is Galatians 2 verses 11 through 14. It says, but when Cephas came to Antioch, I opposed him to his face, because he stood condemned. For before certain men came from James, he was eating with the Gentiles. But when they came, he drew back and separated himself, fearing the circumcision party. And the rest of the Jews acted hypocritically along with him, so that even Barnabas was led astray by their hypocrisy. But when I saw that their conduct was not in step with the truth of the gospel, I said to Cephas before them all, if you, like a Jew, live like a Gentile and not like a Jew, how can you force the Gentiles to live like Jews? Now, I could not find it. I looked for it. I did some research for this. There was a video by D.A. Carson that talked about Peter, Cephas, that's Peter, was getting information from the Jews in Rome, I believe, Christians, and they were Jews that had converted to Christianity, and they were being persecuted harshly. And if I remember, this was a very long time ago when I saw this. I could not find the video. I wish I could. But basically, the way it worked out, take some of this with a grain of salt because my memory could be wrong on it. But the way it was working out was they were being persecuted so bad that they were writing Peter and saying, listen, can these people just obey the food laws in public so they can at least live, you know? That way they can go out into the world. And so Peter may have been struggling with this. Was all conjecture, but he had some interesting ideas here about how this could have been. So when they came to Peter, he wanted to show them that he supported them and what they were going through. And so he began this process of obeying the food laws with them to show solidarity or something along those lines. Again, take it with a grain of salt. Don't remember his sources. I don't remember, but D.A. Carson's a pretty reputable scholar. Again, that doesn't mean you should believe all this. I'm just saying it was very, very interesting. If you have any ability to look this up, it was really interesting because it was basically saying that Paul was saying it does not matter what the fleshly consequences are of us following Jesus. And not only that, but the fact that God has shown his magnificence in his impartiality, we have to display that regardless of the consequences. And, there's some harsh truths in the Christian life, some really harsh truths. And it's amazing. Right now, there are Christians being persecuted. I'm going to leave the name out just because I'm afraid the algorithm may pick it up because there's so many people flocking to my videos. But I still want to be careful, I think. But there's a place in the world where, in Afghanistan, where Christians are being persecuted. And I saw a statistic the other day that said 30% are refusing to leave that probably could. But they're not going to because they're standing firm. They're probably going to die. Many of them, not all of them, many of them will. And we need to be in prayer about that, of course. but the Holy Spirit's just convicted these people that it's worth it to risk their lives for him. And so here Paul, who was just now think about this. If you watch a stream where everybody's talking about something, there's a direction these streams tend to go in, right? They go in a direction and everyone kind of flows. There's no big disagreement. I'm talking about live streams on the internet. Typically on YouTube is where I'll see something like that, but on Twitch. And let's say they're talking about any particular topic. If everyone goes a particular direction, they'll all sort of agree, whether it's entertainment, pop culture, health and fitness. I've watched several of these streams, and there are very rarely disagreements. But here Paul's with those who would seem influential, he says earlier, and he's in agreement. They're in lockstep. They extended him the right hand of fellowship, right? So they extend fellowship to Paul. They're all getting along great. Then the circumcision party comes along, and Paul turns. And this is supposed to be and is a great testimony to the Galatians that says he went against the tide for Jesus. He went against the tide because he saw that the part of the great sacrifice of the cross was the impartiality of God, that he was grafting in the Gentiles and did not want them to be he didn't want God to be misrepresented. He didn't want the sacrifice to be misrepresented, that the gospel is for all. And so here soon he's going to say to the Galatians, you were so foolish. You were bewitched. You were so foolish. Why? Because they couldn't stand up to these Judaizers. And Paul's just showing that for not a moment at any time did he pull away from the gospel at any time. And what's this say, the Galatians? It's meant to shame them, as it should. And so Galatians, again, as we'll continue through, it gets better and better and better. I hope you're enjoying this because I'm loving it.